Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Season 2 of the Spart Asch Analysis podcast. I am here, A. Schlemmer, alongside Spartan.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy, your favorite black boy out here.
So, today we're just going to talk about what's happened so far in the season of RBC. As you all know, we have gone through teams have played either 3 or 4 games, and a lot of interesting developments have happened. What do you think, Chris?
You know, this season, like I said on Carmen Doug's podcast previously, is gonna shape. I think it's gonna shape out to be a really competitive season. I mean, we see teams that we thought coming in that were gonna be stellar, not showing up till like later in this series, and we got teams who no one thought they would be good, and they're winning games. I can't wait to see what else is gonna happen this season.
Yeah, definitely. And we're just going to start off by going through all of the matchups. In the ML side, the Spartans got swept by the Knights 7-3 and 3-1. The Knights just proved that they could hit the ball better and field better than the Spartans, and they've been showing that all the way up until this past game against the Suns. But the Knights are 3-1. They're first place in the RBC right now, and I didn't expect this from them.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected this at all. I mean, you have the returning MVP of the ML last year, Alec, having a team that, wasn't completely filled at the beginning of the season. They had quality players there, but, if you look at across other rosters, you see most of their spots are already gone. But this team is able to, find their footing without such a big team. And I think it all has to take credit to Alex. I mean, even though he does like pitching in that on that team, he still finds ways to win games. I mean, and all credit to all the outfield that he has at Mac. They're all performing well, I believe.
Yeah, the Knights have proved themselves to be both a formidable defensive team and a formidable offensive team. I personally put Mac at either a number 2 or number 3 spot in the ML before this season, and 4 games in, they're number 1. Next team is the Rock Valley Cougars. They are 2-2 now. Split the series with the Suns and then split the series with the Spartans. I expected them to go worse than this. Just looking at their roster. They don't seem to have as many raw skill players as many of the other teams, but they seem to work together quite well when they have to.
Yeah, RVC is one of those teams where it's like, I don't know what it is, but it's like we may not have like the best players, but somehow at the end of the day, it all comes together for us. And I don't know what it is for us, but it just all comes together. I mean, it was quite evident in the games, some of the games with the Suns, where especially games where a lot of our big players didn't perform like Reckless and them, and here we go, Hydra stepping up the bat, and he hits a 3-run homer off, I believe Weehawk, and it was no one ever thought this rookie was gonna do it. So it's good to see we're at least getting games out there, winning games out there.
Yeah, and moving on, the Cougars are definitely a team to look out for, see if they can keep this 500 streak going or if they'll slip below or maybe even above the league average. Next in the ML is the Spartans. They have definitely had a disappointing start to their season. They started off 0-3, losing to the Knights in their first series and then losing to the Cougars in game 1 of the second series. They just haven't been able to get the bat on the ball like they used to.
I think especially coming out of the Omaha tournament, everyone thought this was going to be the team to beat. Like, everyone thought, like, hey, Nas, this is season 7 Nas, because they're looking hot. They're looking like super hot fire in the booth. So people thought they would come out here torching these teams. Like, we thought they were going to be maybe 3-1, 4-0 coming out here. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know what is going on in the Spartans organization, but they weren't able to put it together for the first 3 games, for the first 3 games of their series. I mean, again, give all the benefit to them. They did go to the current leading. They did start off against the current leading team in the RBC, which may have benefited to that. But it was good to have them get this win off of RBC. It was that you were able to see, hey, we're not out, we're not dead yet, guys. Come on, like, don't go slacking on us. We still have some ability. We still have ability to play the ball. Like, and they did it without Karn, which is a big player there. So that's really good to see.
Yeah, the Spartans' pitching staff and fielding staff is pretty dang good. They're just going through a problem that a lot of teams are having right now, and that they can't get the bat on the ball consistently.
Yeah,
and that just seems to be the meta of the RBC right now.
Yeah, especially and we saw the rule change that happened today due to that.
Yeah, we'll go over those later.
Yeah, but in addition to a lot of old hitters and just the overall ability of the league jumping a whole bunch, you don't see a lot of hits like you used to see in like season 5, season 6, where it's like hits to left center field, safe, hits to on the line, safe. Now you see kids hitting balls in the left center field, grabbing it off the wall, and just throwing it straight to the home first place, like it was like an easy routine thing. So, it was good to see. It's good to see. Hopefully, we can make the changes were made to hopefully make it a more more competitive. May have more competitive games, high scoring games, instead of these low scoring games or only scores are made off a home run.
Yeah, we'll go more in depth about that later. Next team is the Unionport Suns. They have been a big surprise for a lot of people so far in this season.
Yeah, I think all the credit to them. I think one thing that contributed to that was their draft. I think, in my opinion, they had probably the best draft.
Yeah.
In the league, they went from they did trade away their couple picks early, but they were able to rebound back to the 7th pick and take Tough Stuff, who was arguably the best defender in that draft. And especially coming to a team where they didn't have so many outfielders, as was evident through it on. They didn't have that many great outfielders, and especially with the second round acquisition of Aubert to again solidify that outfield. Now their outfielders looking like they can compete with Mac even, and it's like teams are not able to get hit. Teams aren't able to get hits against them. Like, it's crazy. But that's all more, like I said, credit to Ark and his drafting. But I think they're good. They're a good, solid team. They just need to, like I said, really find, just like Nats, need to find their batting, because they haven't been able to put their bats together. Especially some of the rookies haven't been able to put their bats together for this season.
Yeah, and the Suns, in my personal opinion, have the most terrifying defensive roster. Would they, like most teams, have maybe one guy who can make those dimes across the infield, but Unionport has 2. Nubsy and Weehawk are both phenomenal infielders, and then on top of Aubert, Tough Stuff, and NLJ in the outfield, they've got... And
you've got Dirt Racer Garrett.
Yeah,
out there
Garrett
too.
on the mound, or even Cyber SF and Only King on the mound. They've got a very formidable defensive half. If the Suns can get their batting up, I see Season 4 Unionport all over again.
And I do agree with that. I do agree with that statement. Again, they may not be to have the best pitchers, but it makes up, their outfield makes up for it. They pretty much have a lockdown outfield, like you said. And I'm sorry to reiterate, but it's just the batting that's lacking.
Yeah.
I mean, once they're able to find their way, now all credit to NLJ, because he had a stellar game versus Mac, able to hit 2 home runs in a row and win that game for them. I think if they can rally up behind NLJ and find their batting, I think UPS may be unstoppable.
Yeah. That's all for the ML. Let's head over to the RL. First thing I'm going to talk about is the SoCal Bullets, who are, I believe they are 1-2 right now. We are going to not discuss their specific players, but this team is definitely rocky, and we'll just have to see how they do going into the future, and that's all we're going to say about the Bullets.
Yeah. Really
now, anyway, let's move on to the Mountaineers. The Mountaineers, 2-1 so far.
I think another surprise. I think they're, even though they haven't put the record together, I think they're still surprisingly playing well for what everyone thought. Especially, I think Hi Josh, High Josh was the person that everyone thought, hey, yo, High Josh, that he was on the Aces, they were trash. Everything he owned, he was trash, and he's a trash player. But now, they're 1-2. They're actually playing decent. They're probably playing pretty good baseball. And High Josh and was able to step his ability up to actually lead a team. And had a great draft. Got Duke Yosti's out there. He's a great fielder. They got Tornado. I believe they still have. Oh no, they don't have Tornado Days, but they still have players in that team that can actually perform. But they just need to again put it together. Once they put it together, Xavier and all them, I think they can surprise some teams out there.
For the first time in my entire career of being the spreadsheet man, the West Virginia Mountaineers have the highest batting average in the RBC as a team.
Wow! And there's my evidence right there.
And that's saying something.
Exactly.
But yeah, West Virginia, definitely kind of a surprise from a lot of people, and they still have Flacco waiting in the minors, waiting for his suspension to run out. He'll be back Series 6.
Exactly. And by the way, they're 2-1. By the way, guy.
Yeah.
They're 2-1, but I won Ash.
Did I say 3-1?
No, you said 1-2.
No, I said 2-1. But
you said 2-1. My bad.
Anyway, the Mountaineers have a lot of tools. Like, they have Broken and High Josh and Xavier, and while those are old names, they're also good names.
Mm-hmm.
I
think especially with that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Their roster is small, but it's very effective at what it does.
Yeah, I think if you compare them, they're maybe like a downgraded version of Mac, maybe not with the outfield, but a downgraded version, especially with the acquisition of Broken and Elias. I think that boosted their team a whole new level because they only had strictly 3 stars. And strictly 3 stars, you can't really do much with that. I mean, you can, but they only played it. I feel like some of them can only play it at a certain degree. But with the acquisition of Broken, I think that kind of jumps that team to a new level.
Yeah. Next up, Ohio. Very interesting group. It just seems to be Smogan, PK, Ryan, Mazda, and Ryan. That's their entire roster. And this is also the only team that has pitched their rookies, or their draft rookie in PK. And his instructions from his pitching coach were literally throw it at their bat and let the outfield deal with it.
I mean, it's almost like like I said, a Mac mentality, where it's like just rely on your outfield to make plays because most of them are old generous besides Ryan and maybe I believe that's only Ryan's the only non-old generous on their team. And old generous, as we see evident from Tough Stuff, Auburn, and Duke, like these guys can throw the ball in the blink of an eye and they're out, and it's on accurate almost like 95% of the time. So I feel like they're able to put a philosophy where it's like, hey, just throw it at the bat, we'll get it, we'll able to carry you to wins. And obviously it's worked out for them. I mean, they got a win under their belt. I believe they're 1-1 right now.
2-1.
They're 2-1 right now. So all the more credit to them if they're able to put wins together that way. I mean, if it's not broke, they'll fix it, right?
Yeah. Next up, Charlotte Bandits, definitely off to a relatively disappointing start. 1-2 against teams that they thought to be able to absolutely destroy. And it's very interesting that the 2 teams that made it the farthest in the Omaha tournament are the 2 teams that are sitting at the bottom right now.
Yeah, and I think it may just be a preseason drought, a beginning of the season drought. Because obviously I can see, just like Nas, Charlotte can easily go on a streak and win games, especially behind you and AJ and the team you put down together. This team has proven season in and out that they could easily win games. It's just, I don't know, they just haven't found, I don't know, with their mojo, or they just haven't found it yet.
Well, I'll help you find the it. The Charlotte Bandits currently have the lowest batting average as a team in the league by 35 points.
And that's something, saying for coming off a team that legit almost beat Nas, who also coincidentally now is also struggling at the plate.
Yeah. A little glance at the minor leagues right now. Right now
we have not many games played because a lot of double headers and a lot of games have been played together. A lot of games have been mashed up together in several days, but we've had at least, I think we have 5 games played so far, and we had We saw Newport Seals win to the Mariachi of a forfeit win. The Bakersfield Biscuits were able to find their batting and go 9-4 against the Concord Colts.
Yeah.
The Subtle Eagles lost to the Virginia Beach Firecrackers 2-1 at the new Black Hat Field, and the Lynchburg Wildcats got destroyed by the River City Rivers, going 5-1. And also the River City Rivers played the Bakersfield Biscuits the other day, 6-4 Bakersfield Biscuits.
Yeah, and the Biscuits do seem to be the strongest of the minor league teams right now, and we'll see if that translates to any good players, because West Virginia has 4 or 5 roster spots available if they did want to call up people. We'll have to see if they do decide to do that.
And if they can get those certain players to call up, I mean, they're doing good. They could be doing real good, for themselves.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to say about RBAA is that as the commissioner, I'm pretty satisfied with how games are going right now. I feel like we could have more games scheduled, which we need to talk with the team owners and board about that. But I think games have been going pretty well. I mean, it's not going to be RBC standard, and we know that. But I think, especially for the first attempt that we had early in the season without Ash, I think games have been going pretty well, if I have to say so myself.
It's definitely an improvement from what happened when I tried to step away last season.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about that, we've seen a lot of talk about the RBAA. We've seen a lot of good talent out of the RBAA, and a lot of call ups out there. Players like Ike Hayden, who just got called up by RCR, who is the affiliate for the MAC. In his first game, that game, I believe he had a home run. First at bat, he came in a home run. So, and Alex took a liking to that, so he was able to get called up. But I think that RCR team has a lot of talent on there, especially a lot of old players of the league who are now just trying to find their footing again. Like Fury Gladiator, Mr. Panda XD, even though Justin, who played last season RBAA, and a couple of returning people like Epic Gamer and Carson Sports, and even people like Gunman has been playing really well for that team. So I think they're a team also to look out for, besides the Bakersfield Biscuits and RBA.
Yeah, Gunman has made himself known as a social media presence as the Make-A-Wish kid of the RBAA. We'll have to see if the Knights end up granting his wish later in the season. But as for the rookies who are now in the RBC, many of them are performing below RBC quality.
And I think it's going to take a while for them to get to that spot where they're going to be like, hey, where teams can be confident in picking them up.
Yeah.
Some teams besides Ohio, because we already know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
But teams like West Virginia, Foxconn, Duke, and they've been performing all right. Tough and Dauber, they've been playing real good in the outfield. But besides that, maybe not too high. We saw many players that we thought were going to be that went high in the draft. Maybe haven't seen a lot of play from them. Maybe.
The first thing that comes to my mind when I hear that is the fact that the Spartans invested all of their picks in the first 3 rounds on the first overall pick, with which they picked Starr, who is right now 0 for 9 with 1 walk, giving him a batting average of 0 and an OBP of 0.1. Definitely not what Nass wanted to see from him.
Definitely not at all. But I think Starr, especially with the great hitting coach and Doug and Carmen, two great legends probably at the RBC. I think he's able to put it together. I know maybe he had a little preseason jitters, but I know they can do it. But I know they can put it together. But even players like we saw, like Robert for RBC, who we haven't seen from their first overall pick. We haven't seen much of him. We've seen a little bit of Hydro Slash as he's been in batting. He had a pretty good one good game against UPS, and but besides that, no one really stood out. I don't think much besides PK and Tough and Albert. Besides them, the old gen rookies are really putting their foot forward. So I would like to see more of the not so familiar. I don't want to say familiar, but not so the newer. Or how do I say this? The non-old gen, non-old gen rookie, step up to the plate.
Yeah, we're just waiting on them at this point. Higher OV4 actually is the highest batting average of these rookies, I believe. He's batting 444 right now for the Mountaineers up to this point. And it'll be interesting to see how he goes the rest of the season, considering he was picked at the number 9 slot, which means 8 teams passed up on him in favor of other people, and he's performing better than them. So interesting to see
Yeah,
that.
that's very, very interesting. Um, you know, and I think with especially with the RBA system, I think you're gonna see a lot of movement with these players, especially a lot of people below the 2-star area. I believe anyone that's not a 3-star up, I think has a target on their head, especially for a lot of RBA players. Because I could see like one bad game. Let's give an example out of the 22 fan. He goes on a drought, and I can see people like Gunman and Panda and Epic Gamer getting called up immediately to fill that role. So for your RBA players and even your rookies, keep your heads on. Keep practicing, keep doing good, and your time will come for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how the coaches give chances to these minor league kids as the season goes on.
Yeah, one thing I want to talk about, Ash, a lot of this season we've seen a lot of return of old players, but not only maybe not a lot of them are a little lower in stature, but even big players like TJ, Surfer, just to name a few, who come back for this final season of RBC. And how do you think? What do you think about the return of all these great players?
Well, it's kind of interesting to me because at their current knowledge, like at the way they're playing right now, people like Draft Champ and Only King, Swagmaster, Surfer Legend, they're playing like 2 to 3 stars, or at 1 to 2 stars at best. But I feel like as the season progresses, we could get glimpses or even entire series of who they used to be back in their prime, because in his prime, Only King won MVP, Swagmaster won Most Improved, and Surfer Legend won the Cy Young in Season 3. These guys are big guys in the league, and if they had stayed along, they would probably be rated 4 or maybe even 5 stars.
And not including him, but not exclude Caden, who even though he has been inactive past couple seasons, he's been returned. He just hit this had a great game versus RT just passed, hit a 3-run home run, secured another W against RBC. But I think they're all performing in their own little rights. And TJ's been doing pretty good on the mound. I would say he has 5 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, 9 Ks. So he's pitching pretty well. But also Surfer has, I believe, been pitching pretty well as well. He's won a game with 7 innings pitched, 4 hits allowed, and 14 Ks, which is a really good performance by him. But I think, especially like you said, I think with everyone, it's going to be the batting that's going to have to improve for them to return to their primes.
Yeah, and it's batting. Batting is a lot different now than it used to be.
Oh, but, and how can we forget about the GOAT Ryan XVI, who has played for like 18 seasons?
He is like a 3-star now. He's not performing great.
Yeah, he's not in his GOAT status yet, for sure.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's 5 for 13 with a home run and an RBI, so he's not doing horrible. He's doing better than a lot of 3-stars out there now, I guess.
All right, so let's move on. After this segment, we are going to start taking questions, so start thinking of your questions and putting them in chat. But now we are going to talk about these rule changes and tool changes that just came out this evening. So I will just try to unpack these real quick. So the rule changes are quite self-explanatory. The 2 rules in Section 2.1 are helping the batter out a little bit, basically saying that if it's removing the ability to get an OBB on a cheap call, like if you ran to first on a foul ball or a no swing, they can't pitch before you're back in the box and ready. None of that. And then the other one is allowing the batter a little bit more leeway on the stance rule, allowing them to turn not in front of the plate but into the front of the batter's box, which gives you about a 2-stud additional area to rotate into. The other rule is allowing a team to DH 2 of their batters and then have 2 players who are only in the field, which is something that has happened in the RBC before, but it's never really been like officially sanctioned, or there's never been a rule about it. But for teams like Charlotte, Unionport, and NAS, who have a lot of people showing up to their games, this is going to help them big time because it's going to allow them to make their order a little bit more productive because it's going to come around to the top a little bit more often, and it's also going to allow them to keep their big fielders in the field. I think this is going to, for some teams, do some specialized training and say, oh, you're going to be a fielder, and just work with that person on fielding only, you know? But I feel like this is just going to be a little bit of an improvement for those teams who previously had to bat 10, 11, and 12 people in their batting lineup because their whole team showed up to the game.
But I also think this will be a big improvement for mobile players, especially with the rule of with the OBB change in ruling.
Yeah,
especially with the aiming,
because it gives them a little bit more time. Yeah.
Especially with the aiming, the bat, because you're not able to rotate as fast as mobile, so you can't properly put the ball where you wanted to put it. So players like JS, who sometimes play on mobile. I even play on mobile sometimes. ASC, Gunman, the more famous mobile players, this gives them more leeway to, perform well. This gives them a better chance to perform well in RBC games.
Yeah. Now, moving on to the tool changes. An infield glove has been, or will be added. These will come into effect at the end of Series 2. The rules are into effect immediately. But the infield glove is being added, which is a substitute for using the standard outfield glove, which is known to have extremely high throw power, while in the infield it has much lower throw power. So you can throw from shortstop and third base without having to throw it into the ground, basically. But I personally think that a lot of the players who are able to do this already are going to stick with how they're doing it now, because it's going to shave off a half second in the transfer of the ball. Additionally, glove speed has been changed from 26 to 22. A lot of people were going absolutely crazy about this one, but in reality, it is not that big of a change. It's definitely going to allow gap hits placed precisely to have much more close plays at first, and it's going to encourage more fielding, or it's going to encourage more base hits and require much more fielding quickness and skill in order to get those gap hits, because gap hits weren't supposed to just be playable on a dime easily every time. This is going to increase the number of plays that are close at first base and end up increasing the number of plays that are safe at first base.
Yeah, that's true, and I think, especially with the addition of the weak bat, you have teams like Ohio will be more cautious and may add more players to their roster. You have these shots that will be little dribblers into the infield, and they maybe not be able to field them quick enough to get the player out. So,
yeah, and the way that the weak bat is going to work, it's not going to be like a weak, as in like a dribbler. It's not going to be a bunt. It's going to be more of a slow roller into the outfield like we see commonly with the regular bats, but it's going to allow you to choose that. And Doug hasn't decided yet, but it might even have a little bit increased ability to make contact. So if you're down 0-2, you might have a better chance of making contact on the ball with the weak bat than with the regular bat.
And even with the glove, I think, like you may have said, it's going to increase the increased percentage of double plays will happen.
Yeah.
We don't see many double plays that all happen right now. Yeah, and now that the has been signed, oh my God, I can't talk today. The glove has been is going to be put into the game. I think we're going to see a large input of double plays, and I think as a lot of teams will practice these double plays often. Yeah. So I think we're going to expect that much more.
While this does allow for gaps to be much, there is going to be a lefty weak bat. That's a clarification. But there. I'm blanking. Okay, there is going to be more base hits due to the decreased glove speed, but this is counteracted by the much easier ability to get double plays when either the batter is slacking or it's hit right to the fielder. And I think those are going to counteract each other, maybe not evenly. We are looking for more base hits because the pitcher, the K or home run outcome that RBC has kind of turned into is kind of killing a lot of people, making the games a little bit less fun and a lot more stressful. So we're just trying to bring back the way that it used to be. Like nowadays, the average batting average in RBC right now is in the 295s, whereas back in season 6 and season 5, the average batting average in the RBC was in the 400s to the low 500s. Like a player who showed up to every game in season 6 and was considered bad would probably be like second or third in the batting average standings right now. We're just trying to bring it back to that style of play as we saw in season 6. What do you think of these changes?
I think I think this is with the addition of the rules and the tools, we'll see even more increase of competitive games. Close games, close throws, clutch plays, especially like double plays. Maybe clutch hits with the weak bats. Maybe they're not throwing home in time. So I think this is a good way to mix up the field a little bit, since we're not sticking to the same old again. You just keep the players light, keep the people light on their toes, expect new stuff to happen.
Yeah.
Not talk.
All right. So now we're gonna move on to audience questions. Please put your questions either in RBN General or in the YouTube chat. Either works. So let's start getting questions.
One thing I do want to mention is that I think I know this season, boys and girls. I know this season could be the best season yet, and I don't want the continuous fights and continuous tweets and the continuous shenanigans go on and have Doug cancel everything. So we're doing all right so far. So let's keep it going this way, boys.
Yeah. Question from Hi Josh. How do we think West Virginia will do going on in these upcoming series?
Wait, by the way, where the questions at again?
RB. Oh wait, why is RBN General locked? I didn't know that. Hold on, let me change that. But first question from Hi Josh is, do you think that everyone should be able to send messages in RBN General? This is weird. Hold on. I'll fix it. But Hi Josh asks if West Virginia will continue to play well, or if we think that they will go on a slump. What do you think about this?
I think a big thing for them, especially, is just how well can they play as a collective, and they've been doing pretty well so far with that. But making sure that one person doesn't ruin that, especially like if you have the absence of like Xavier, and you maybe have to put like Fox Connor someone out there in the field. Maybe with the absence of a player like that, maybe the whole team gets disrupted. So if they can stay together and stay congealed and perform like they're performing, I think they can get second place in their league. Hopefully, we can see sunny skies for them going forward. What about you?
I'm not sure, honestly. They've been performing past my expectations, so I'll be interested to see how they do. And a second question in regards to the Mountaineers. What do I think the West Virginia versus Union Port series outcome will be like? This is a big statement series for both of these teams. That is series 4, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
No, let me check it. Sorry, I should have put out my things. Yes.
Yeah, that's series 5. Yeah, the interleague series, that'll be a big series, and I think a lot could happen before then. that we really don't
Yeah,
know.
for
We
sure.
really can't tell what that series is going to be like until we see Unionport and West Virginia in Series 3 and 4.
But I think if we're just going off for right now, I think it's gonna be a very, very close series. I think the major thing will be if West Virginia's pitching can hold up. Because if they don't pitch well, I think it could cause UPS, to go in streaks. Because UPS, like we said before, plenty of times in the stream, they have probably the best, if not outfield in the league. And you already know if you're gonna hit straight to them, it's gonna be game over for you. So it's gonna be extremely important that their pitching rotation, they can find something that works and have those batters who have been struggling right now to not be able to hit the ball.
Okay.
One
What
a
do we?
question from Caden. What do you think about Carm's as of Nash? Will it be good or will
Honestly,
it be good or bad for the
I
remainder
think
of it?
his absence will be good for the team because up to
Mm-hmm.
this point, the team has been under a momentous amount of pressure simply due to the fact that Carm loves to gas his team up and talk very good about them. And I feel like those expectations the from Carm have kind of forced them to become a little bit more stressed out. And I feel like not having those expectations as much could help out.
But not only expectations, but I think also we're just relying on Carm in general. Because now, I mean, I think, in my opinion, I think they rely Carm heavily in pitching, and you see him. I would say he pitches almost every other game. So if they can kind of wean him out of the pitching rotation, Caden had a great game today. So if they can find their footing without Carm in the pitching rotation and maybe in the field, I think this would be a good thing for them, and they can when they reintroduce him back, they could be even better.
Yeah, that's yeah, good. On to the next question. Um, we're not going to be answering the what do you
Any
guys
SoCal
think about a
questions, Sam?
remove stands feature in stadiums because that is not media, that is league development.
Also, no SoCal questions, please.
Please go to this league suggestions channel and fill out the Google form. RVC signings and inactivity with GameStream. RVC has made some signings and I mean,
They really haven't made many signings. I would say it's been a lot more of a movement of the team up and down.
yeah,
And I think for what, as the owner, if I think for what for the activity we have, I think we've made the right decisions for activity wise, especially some players out of town, or inactive. Like they're virtual, not always there all the time, but they're good players in their own respect. Especially like vacations, people on vacation, like Robert, they were not able to come to games. I think we're able to find a way, to fluctuate activity and performance. And maybe not Kenny others today, but we in the long run, I think we will.
yeah. Um,
Hold up, let
legitimate
me turn
question
my
from
phone off
Ashton
because Giants
Champion.
roasting.
What do we see in the Knights pitching rotation? Um,
I
let me look.
think. I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So the Knights pitching rotation is, I believe, Ashton, Crazy Time Man, and Ryan Priest. Interesting bunch. Crazy probably the strongest of these pitchers. I don't know though. All of these pitchers are relatively mediocre, especially compared to a lot of other teams. It's definitely a pitching staff that funnels into the outfield, which is their most successful aspect.
Yeah, and there are not even a lot of notable pitchers besides Crazy Time. Even though Ashley Champion in his own right is a pretty decent pitcher. Um, I think, like you said, their team kind of like Ohio, maybe not more direct, really relies on their outfield, so they can make up for pitching, and they don't really need the best pitchers on their team when they can, have a great outfield like getting Alex Bongi out there in the outfield. But for the pitchers they have, I think they're be able to put good performances. Ryan has 5 innings pitched, 4 hits allowed, 6 Ks, and Ashton around the same thing with 5 innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, and 6 Ks. So I think for the method they're kind of incorporated right now, I think they're doing it very well for what they're trying to incorporate, in my belief.
Okay, moving on to the next question. Um, what do we think about the acquisition of Broken on West Virginia? It was definitely a
Good
W
move.
for West
Great
Virginia,
move.
but
Great
a
move.
big loss for the Bullets.
Mm-hmm.
They literally gave Broken to the Mountaineers for a rookie, a 3-star who's inactive, and a 2-star who's decent. I think that was just a big loss for the Bullets, and I think that one can be chalked up to County Law's coaching, which was
And I don't want to talk
detrimental
about it too
to
much, but
SoCal.
I don't want to talk about that too much, but again, it was maybe just a little bit of inexperience on County Law's part to make that trade. One question I see the RBN chat. He said, "What two teams do you think could be out of the playoff race already?"
I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, literally,
Everyone is within 2 games of each other right now, and we have 20 games to go for everybody.
But
We have no idea at this point. I mean,
but
it really depends on how teams adapt to these new changes to the gameplay.
That is true, but I think if you put a gun against my head and ask me this question, for the RL, I think it's gonna be SoCal at the end of the day. I just think that too early. This has been too devastating, maybe a little too early, and I don't want to touch on that subject too much. But I'm not sure if they're able to find their way back. But for the ML, it's a much harder question because you have all great teams, but I think the two most teams to not make it there are NAS and RBC, and especially with splitting the series, it's gonna be hard. But I may have to say RBC just because strictly because we have good talent when we show, but we have a lot of talent that hasn't shown at the game, and that's a big that leaves a big hole in the team. But but again, this could be subject to change in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I guess SoCal and RBC are those teams right now. If you put a gun to my head, at least.
Here's a couple questions about Charlotte. Firstly, why did Caden get traded away? And what am I going to do to get Charlotte out of this slump? I traded away Caden because at the time he had been online a total of 1 time since I had signed him to the team. And
you got baited. You got played.
This was
you got played.
3 weeks from his signing, so I assumed that his inactivity would continue. And I mean, in the end, I ended up with Tornado, and I also ended up with better draft picks than I had before. So
that's true.
I think I in the end am winning so far. I could still lose.
I'm winning. I think Caden just pulled I think he pretty much just did what Torn tried to do, but at a much better level because Torn is a little dumb and Caden hopefully is not. He's able to get onto his team that he probably prefers over any team, and I don't know if he planned it himself, but he's got NAS, and I feel like that was kind of his goal. So at the end of the day, I think it was a win-win for both teams, honestly.
As for his trade to NAS, though, West Virginia received Tornado, who it's an interesting trade. I mean, let me try to find the specific trade. It was where is it? Here we go. Tornado and the number 2 for Caden and the number 1. West Virginia just kind of got nay-nayed there.
Nay-nayed.
Honestly, they gave NAS their golden boy and the number 1 pick for a guy who was trying to get off the team anyway. So I don't really understand the decision for that trade specifically.
One question I see.
Everyone's
one question
in that deal.
I'm sorry. One question I see a lot is what teams do you think would be in the playoff race in each division? I think that's kind of answered in the previous questions.
At this point, we don't know.
But again, I would say generally we don't know. It's way too early. Maybe if you ask that question again after the maybe
episode 2, maybe 3, we'll have a better idea for you guys. But as of right now, we don't know.
But actually, a real good question here. What do you think of the ITCRA finale to Wednesday, which everyone is hyped for? Am I right, Ash?
Alex DA is going to win because Darkheart didn't show up to the last race.
Yeah, obviously, and Alton Sports is gonna win the team series because Alton Sports is the best team.
That's funny. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
funny. We're only losing by like 9 points, bud.
As I was saying with Hi Josh's question, um, Charlotte is not playing as a really good team right now because we're not hitting like a really good team. Charlotte, from what I've seen so far, and with the exception of today's game with the errors that were made, is probably the best team on the mound and in the field. Maybe seconded by Unionport. But I think that if Charlotte can hit the ball, they'll definitely be in the race for number one as the season goes on.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, a decent question from Weehawk right here. He says, if you were to add one award, what would it be? I think in my opinion, it'll be the Minority Award. But
that's dumb.
We're not gonna have that because everyone in this group hates minorities. But we're not gonna talk about that.
That's factually inaccurate. But
factually inaccurate.
What I would say,
I
think that I would say that the award that we should add is kind of like the Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
Yeah.
Instead, just make it the Payton Man of the Year award.
Payton Man, but Payton is a horrible person. He's racist.
I mean, yes, but it's funny because Walter Payton.
Ooh, we should name it the Guest Rizzo Man of the Year award.
Actually, that's kind of a big brain idea.
Big brain.
He already has the Dime Award, so I don't know if we would want to change that. But
actually, I won't say AJ, but AJ's toxic.
He's already got the hitting award.
Oh, which is the name of the Spart Award.
No, it should be the Pavel Datsuk Man of the Year award.
But you're not gonna name it me because it's race. You guys are racist. we should have the II Spartans Minority Award because we need black representation and we don't have that. I've been into season 1, haven't been on the board yet, but this bum named Garrett is able to get on the board. I'm just kidding. I love you.
All right, let's get one final question in RBN general before
let's get like two. Let's get like two. Let's get two. It's good.
One, maybe two more.
Yeah. That's a bad question.
Hi, Josh at 111 for the best owner. That is funny.
That is, he did make a good move to get the first pick, but that's the only thing.
But then he traded it away.
Yeah,
immediately.
That's true. So
I'm not answering that question, 3D. That's not a league-related question. What top 5 or 3 RBA players that could make a surprising performance in RBC? I haven't been watching the RBAA games at all. But
yeah, who watches those, bro?
The names that I see the most that could be big are, let's see, Justin, Ace07, and I mean, if I'm only talking about rookies here. I'm not including the guys that Nas sent down. Those two, and then I don't know. Maybe Penhead Larry could make an appearance at one point.
For me, I think my one thing that popped in my head that you didn't mention was Gunman. I mean, even though he did ask the question, he has been playing well. I think he's been batting I think he's been batting in the hot, maybe above 500 for sure, and maybe in a home run or two in the first couple games. So I think he's also on one important friendlies here. Ooh, good question. From Weehawk. How underappreciated are infielders?
Do you mean unappreciated? Yeah, I personally appreciate infielders so much, and I feel very bad for neglecting to recruit for them when I was trying to get my team this season. Infielders are very important, although the new gloves will kind of phase out their significance a lot more because it's making it a lot easier for players to make those plays. And also the new gloves will have a script that is found in Old Gen that allows you, or that makes the ball go to the center of the glove. So there's not going to be any more ball getting stuck in the wall or ball getting stuck in the ground. It's just going to go to the center of your glove, which that is going to make fielding easier. It's kind of a trade-off. We're trying to phase fielding to be more difficult, but we're not just doing it by lowering the speed. We're lowering the speed, but we're giving you an advantage by making it easier to throw, and we're also giving you easier throws in the infield. It's kind of a trade, a Goldilocks zone kind of thing. Something I want to say, the RBN situation on streams, due to the fact that 85% of our staff, literally everyone except for Pesano, plays on an RBC team, we don't have the ability, availability, or really the will to stream every single game like we did in the RBAA season. What I'm thinking we might end up doing is maybe choosing a matchup every series to stream, and then just do that series.
The game of the week.
And yeah, just choosing the RBC series or matchup of the series and just streaming that.
I mean, or if we can find trusted people, maybe some of you RBAA guys, you know, I know some of you may be younger, but maybe if some of y'all are older, you know, maybe DM and ask you like, hey yo, what's up, cuz? You know, I'm trying to start streaming for you. You know, hit a player up. You feel?
Yeah, we are always looking for more streamers and more people to get everything going. So.
One last question before the chat with the complete dookie. Who are the best 4 to 5 stars? Again, I think it's way too early to say this because basically I think you were just talking about prejudice and bias right now. So I don't know. Honestly,
what was the question again?
Who are the best 4 to 5 stars right now?
Oh, I have no opinion. I mean, it's way too early. It's way too early in the season to figure it out.
I think for more of these questions, like who is gonna win and who's the best, I think you have to wait until like later in the season, guys, because I don't know. We can't really answer those questions right now. But with that, I think we're done here.
Yeah, let's get one more question.
Ooh, one more question.
Close this out for the night.
Oh, before I leave, guys, I just want to let you know that Nas is not gonna win a World Series without me, and that's gonna be factual after this season.
How do we feel about County hitting a home run to start off a game and then getting exiled? I'm surprised County laws lasted this long. That's my statement on that.
Yeah, didn't he get exiled? Like, was he almost getting exiled?
Yeah, he got reprimanded like his first day of RBAA for toxicity.
Exactly, but karma. Check for my parents. Karma's a bitch, So.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think we have any more questions, Ash.
All right, well, if that is all, then... Wait, one more. What's Hi Josh saying? He's laughing. You see yourself batting 700. Do I see anything taking effect on that if you get called up? What? I don't think any rookie is going to bat 700. But I believe that is all from us here today.
I don't think anyone in RBC will bat over 500, 700 zone.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you all for watching. It's great to see.
Oh, actually, if you want another question, I got a quick question.
What is it?
What has been who has been your favorite exile? Like, what's the best exile that you've seen on the back of this county exile?
Let's see. So the
or
exiles,
suspension.
Am I saying the most satisfying, the funniest, or...
I think just your favorite. Just
my favorite in general?
Yeah.
Probably either going to have to be Flacco putting his penis on a league form, or...
Oh my goodness.
What's his name? Central Law. Right? Central Law?
Oh yeah, putting
the word penis in the entire rulebook for 7 pages straight. That was also pretty funny.
Stat sheet.
And the stat sheet, yeah.
I think those two are the goats right there. Yeah. I think my favorite is WoW for getting banned in the middle of the World Series.
That's my least favorite exile.
That's clutch right there. That's what I call a clutch move from Doug.
Clutch move from Doug. Losing 2-0. Exiles the other team's best player.
Hey yo,
wins in 6.
Hey, what doesn't the old Chinese proverb Doug said? If you can't beat them, ban one of their best players.
what is my biggest bust in the draft? You know,
It's me.
other
I'm
than
the biggest
I
bust
County
ever.
Laws who got exiled, probably Star. I mean,
I think he asked that question trying to make you Star, but we're just gonna ignore that one.
yeah, and you know,
With that, I think we can get out of here because I
yeah.
need to play some Madden.
All right, so yeah, Spartan's gonna go play some Madden. That's us from us today. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment on the live stream. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night.
Have a good night, babies. Yo.